Panic speaks. It has a sound and a heat and a speed to it. It grabs at the throat, at the thought, at the breath. It hurls questions, demands remedies, bargains with shadows. Do not argue with it. Do not analyze it. Do not negotiate 1 inch of your soul to it. You answer once, and only once, with the whole weight of heaven behind 2 words. God is. This hour is not a new technique. It is the same ancient message continued, the same river flowing under different stones. God is one. Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy to improve a crisis by your cleverness, by your quick mind, by your proud resolve. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father within does the works. If you will take that as housekeeping for the spirit, you will not spend your strength rearranging phantoms. God is one. Therefore, there is not this power and that power, not your fear and a second God trying to overrun it. God is. And because God is, there is one presence and one power. Let me be plain. In the moment when panic rises, brevity is mercy. 2 words can be lived before a thought can be strung. God is. That is not a charm for the lips. It is a door for the heart. Be still and know that I am God. Not learn. No. Not later. Now. The purpose of these 2 words is not to whip the human mind into a better pattern, but to step out of the mind's clamor into the presence that is already here. Harmony does not come by might or by power. Harmony comes by grace. Grace, not effort, dissolves the appearance of fear. Panic is loud, but it has no jurisdiction. It parades as substance, pounding, pulse, hot face, thin air, yet it cannot touch what is. You cannot see God with eyes, or hear with ears, or taste, or touch, or smell, or think God, and still God is. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. The shepherd is not a theory and not a technique. The shepherd is presence. And where that presence is realized, want and fear have no pasture. As long as you believe there is power in a frightened thought, you are far from the kingdom. As long as you believe there is power in a good thought, you are still far. Thought is not power. God is power. Therefore, only one power. So our aim is single. We are not here to perfect the breath or polish the mind. We are here to withdraw our belief from panic's pageant, to return consciousness to the one presence and power, and to let grace do what grace alone does. Reveal the unreality of fear. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. We are not manufacturing liberty. We are acknowledging spirit, and liberty appears as its own evidence. This hour will move as one continuous prayer. Instruction, so the letter guides you to the threshold. Deconstruction, so panic's throne is seen as an empty chair. Practice, so the tongue is quieted and the heart becomes receptive. And shared stillness, so the oneness that is the very fabric of being is felt, not reasoned. Do not break it into parts in your mind. Do not carry a notebook into the sanctuary of your own soul. Let your tongue fall out before you talk to God. Hold those teeth together. Stop. Stop. Be still. When panic speaks, you answer once, not 10 times, not in a duel of verses and counter-arguments. Once, God is. Then let the Father within bear witness to himself. Perfect love casteth out fear. Not your love, the love that is God. As we proceed, Let us set our feet on this narrow path. No techniques, no bargains, no applause for the mind, only the straight way. God is. And in that is, the wave begins to lose its voice. We begin dismantling a throne, begins not with a hammer, but with truth. God is power. Therefore, there is only one power. If the Lord is God, there is none else. Hear it as more than a phrase. One means one, not one and a fraction, not one and an adversary peering in the window. I am the Lord, and there is none else. When consciousness consents to this, truly consents, every rival dissolves into the mist. It always was, for a rival requires substance to stand. Where would it find it in the presence of the one? If there is one power, where would panic find a second? It has a cymbal and a drum, and it shouts in the flesh, pounding, pulse, dry mouth, spinning margins around the eyes. It may visit at midnight. It may announce itself at the telephone's ring. But noise is not authority. Sensation is not law. Where is panic statute written? In what court does it swear you in? Who commissioned it? Who endowed it with life? If God is life, whence comes this other life to uphold fear? Show me its breath. Show me its cause. You cannot. It borrows your belief and pretends it was born with a crown. As long as you believe there is power in fear, you are far from the kingdom. And as long as you believe there is power in a good thought against fear, you are still far. Thought is not power. God is power. The Master said, take no thought for your life. And again, which of you by taking thought can add 1 cubit to his stature? Let us press the point. Which of you, by taking thought, has ever stopped the throb in the throat? Which of you, by clever reasoning and counter-argument, has quieted the heart for more than a moment? Who, by mustering affirmations as soldiers, has secured a lasting victory? As long as you wage that war, you enthrone a second power and call it necessary. Stop. Stop making two. Name panic correctly. It is an appearance claiming presence. It borrows your consent. It possesses no law, no life, no cause, no self-sustaining principle. Call it panic. Call it mortal mind. Call it wind names for nothingness when measured against the I am. A shadow on the wall may look like a giant, but try to take its pulse. You cannot see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it as substance. It only seems to be as long as you stand in a certain light and look a certain way. Turn, and it vanishes. Withdraw belief, and the giant falls not by your push, but because there was no bone in it. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? That is not poetry for frightened nights. It is ontology. If the Lord is light, what darkness can possess a switch? If the Lord is salvation, what peril can an act decree? In him we live and move and have our being. If your being is in him, where would a foreign law attach? Where would a rival power find purchase? There is no second realm in which fear may grow its roots. There is no outside to the one. Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy to manage fear by mental carpentry. Every nail you pound into the scaffolding of my effort adds a wing to panic's palace. Let that palace be seen as air. Let the tongue fall quiet before God, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. One power means no rival. Therefore, our task is not to conquer a something, It is to refuse to invent it. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, not an outcome you manufacture, but the grace that appears when the throne of a second power is refused audience. God is. Therefore, fear is without law to uphold itself. In that recognition, the court adjourns, the gavel falls, and the empty chair is all that remains. Now, do not mistake our two words for a gadget. There are two parts to this work. There is the letter of truth, and there is the spirit or consciousness of truth. The letter is the sign at the door. The spirit is the house. The letter is the map. The spirit is the country. God belongs to the letter insofar as it can be spoken, conceived, shaped in syllables. But the life is not in the syllable. The life is in the silence into which those two words deliver you. Use the letter to escort you beyond the letter. Say it once with the weight of heaven's fact in it, and then yield your faculties. Be still and know that I am God. Not be verbose. Be still. When you pray, said the Master, use not vain repetitions. Stop. Stop. Let your tongue fall out before you begin bargaining with God. God is not a charm to persuade omnipotence. It is recognition. It is acknowledgement of what already is. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. If that is truth, then what are you telling? Whom are you informing? Prayer is not an information service to deity. Prayer is receptivity. True prayer puts you on the receiving end of God. To pray is to get out of the way of the one who is already present, already love, already law unto himself, and to let grace appear as its own fulfillment. Hold the mantra lightly. God is must be as fact, not as plea. As soon as you try to make it do something, you have slipped from recognition to persuasion, from spirit to mind. As long as you believe there is power in a good thought, you are far from the kingdom. Thought is not power. God is power. My thoughts are not your thoughts. Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy to produce peace by mental carpentry. Affirming endlessly is almost as useless as thinking it. It only proves that you still think you are the doer. I can of mine own self do nothing. Say the two words, then honor their content by ceasing from your labor. Rest the tongue. Close the mental workshop. Abide. For the beginner, this is a temptation. To keep repeating until the mind is lulled and the body agrees to be quiet. That is sedation, not spirit. That is the letter inflating itself to hide its emptiness. Who by taking thought has ever made a white hair black? Who by stacking phrases has ever unveiled the presence? The spirit bloweth where it listeth. You cannot hurt it with syllables. You can only make room. You make room by ceasing to occupy the sanctuary with your noise. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Not the salvation of your technique, the salvation of the Lord. Do not look for fireworks. Do not measure results with the senses. You cannot see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it as an object. And yet, when the word has done its work and slipped from your hand, a hush bears witness. Sometimes it is a soft loosening at the root of the breath, sometimes no sign at all except the absence of urgency. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit. Allow that witness to come in its own way. Treat God as omniscience, not as a pupil to be taught what you prefer. Therefore, let the order be this. Speak recognition God is, and then yield. Let consciousness shift from the letter to the living. Sit without managing, without peeking at the clock, without polishing the phrase for better shine. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Liberty does not arrive by might or by power, but by grace. Grace does the dissolving. Grace reveals the unreality of what frightened you. Your part is the smallest. Answer once, be still, and remain on the receiving end of God. If the letter is the sign at the door, surrender is the empty-handed step across the threshold. Be very firm in your understanding that personal will cannot still the storm. Be very firm that the anxious craftsman within you has no tools that can mend the sky. The Master spoke plainly. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. Hear that not as speech to memorize, but as posture to inhabit. You are not the doer in this holy work. You are the transparency through which the doer appears. Stop the heroics. Stop the mental carpentry. Neither mind nor thought can heal, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. As long as you have faith in the cleverness of your next thought, you remain at the potter's wheel turning mud. The river of grace does not flow because you paddle well. It flows because it is its nature to flow. Your task is consent. Consent is surrender. Let the shoulders drop. Let the breath be as it is. Let the tongue rest behind the teeth. Whisper within once, and only once, God is. And then turn from managing the feeling to feeling the presence. Father, I turn from managing this feeling. Let me feel thy presence. Then be still and let the Father bear witness to himself. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. Do you hear that as poetry or as an instruction? Cast it. Drop it. Refuse to carry the sack of self-management one step farther. The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. Your peace is your holding. The battle is the Lord's. We are not here to fix panic. We are here to recognize God. And in that recognition, the secondary shadows lose the theater light by which they seem to be. You cannot see, hear, taste, touch, smell, or think the doer as an object. Yet the hush of his working announces itself without announcement. It is the Father that dwelleth in me. He doeth the works. A little story, if it helps you feel this. A fisherman at dusk met a sudden squall. He fought with oars and curses until his arms were fire and the boat no steadier than a leaf. Then a word rose in him, God is, and with it a strange clarity. Turn the bow into the wind, lay down the oars, and wait. He did nothing but keep his face to the gale and his heart unarguing. The same wind that threatened began to carry. He felt, not saw, a current under him. And by dark's end he bumped his own familiar dock. No heroics brought him home. Consent did. The current was there before he fought it. It bore him when he stopped. This is the shape of surrender. It is not collapse. It is not passivity. It is holy consent to the one power that already is. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Rest comes first. Works follow. From rest in presence flows the only effective action because it is not yours. The Father within me doeth the works. The shift is from outcome to presence, from manipulating appearances to beholding reality, from how do I stop this, to Father, be thou revealed. Make a quiet covenant with yourself. I will not use God to secure an effect. I will know God and let effects be God's business. When the pulse pounds and the throat tightens, Resist the temptation to pick up tools. Answer once God is, and lay them down. Then sit within the given hush. If thoughts run, let them run like children in a distant field. You need not shepherd them. Your only fidelity is to receptivity. Treat God as omniscience, not as a pupil to be taught what you prefer. In that surrender, grace, not effort, does the work. And when grace works, there is nothing in you that can boast, nothing that can fear, because nothing personal remains to threaten or to claim. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Now we marry the simplest movement of your body to the simplest recognition of truth, only for a moment, only as the letter that brings you to the Spirit. Sit simply. Do not arrange yourself like a statue. Sit as you are, but let the body concede its noise. Let the tongue fall from the roof of the mouth. Hold those teeth together. Quiet the lips. Let the hands rest where they fall on the knees, in the lap, unarguing. Lower the eyes or close them lightly, not to hunt for something behind the lid, but to cease lending sight to appearances. We are not about to do a breathing exercise. We are about to couple the breath that is already moving with the fact that already is. Be still and know that I am God. Cycle 1. As the next inhale comes of its own accord, receive it and inwardly recognize God. No embroidery, no help from you, just the fact God. As the exhale leaves of its own accord, inwardly recognizes God is. Do not judge. Do not repeat aloud. Do not peer at the sensation to see if it changes color. One breath, one recognition, God on the in-breath is on the out-breath. That is all. Cycle 2. Again, as breath comes, softer now like a hand opened, not a fist receive, and within the heart whisper without words, God. And as it goes, is. Less volume in the mind, less edge on the syllable, more yielding. Feel, if you can call it feeling. The meaning retreat from the letters into awareness itself, as mist yields to clear air. Do not follow the mist. Let it go. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Cycle 3. A final inward whisper at the crest of the in-breath, God, and a final inward whisper as it falls is, so light a touch, the word almost isn't. Then, stop, stop. No more words. Let the phrase drop away like a ladder beneath a roof you have already reached. Do not pick it up. Do not look down. Remain wordless. 30 seconds, 60 times is of no importance. Be still and let the Spirit bear witness to himself. Treat God as omniscience, present, not as an object to be fetched, not as a distance to be crossed. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. During this quiet, you are not watching your breath. You are not comparing this hush with prior hushes. You are not angling for effect. You are on the receiving end of God. If thoughts parade, let them pass unreviewed. If sensations knock, do not go to the door. You cannot see him, hear him, taste him, touch him, smell him, or think him as an object, and yet presence is. God is. Take no thought. That is the instruction. Surrender the doer and let grace be grace. If a soft loosening at the root of the breath appears, if a weight lifts, if nothing at all seems to happen, make no report. The Father within doeth the works, whether you know it or do not know it with the mind. Keep the lips closed. Keep the tongue at rest. Do not turn this sanctuary into a workshop. True prayer is receptivity. In this wordless minute, You are not moving God. You are consenting that God is. As you rest, be as the psalmist. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Not for a sign, not for a change. Want is quieted because presence is realized. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty, not manufactured peace, but the liberty that is God's own being, revealing itself as your atmosphere. When the minute has passed itself, do not snatch its speech. Let the awareness that remains be the benediction. Let the hands be as they were. Let the breath go as it goes. If a word must return, let it be only this silent acknowledgement. Thank you. Or do not even that. Rise when you rise, with nothing accomplished by you and much accomplished in you. You have married breath to recognition briefly, and then abided where grace acts. Keep the door unlocked through the day. 2 words once, then stop, and often without sound, allow omniscience to be all that is. Now let us look directly and quietly at the show that calls itself panic, not to wrestle with it, but to see what it is and what it is not. You cannot see God, hear God, taste, touch, smell, or think God as an object, and yet God is. That is the first and last fact. Be still and know that I am God. Not an item in the room, not a sensation in the body. God is. And because God is, the isness of God constitutes the only presence and the only power. When that is clear in you, even faintly clear, the parade of sensations begins to lose its borrowed throne. What does panic offer? Sensations. A heart that runs like a hunted thing. A chest that seems to cinch itself tight. A heat in the face. A dryness in the mouth. A spinning of thought, like leaves whipped into a funnel. All that and noise. But where is its law? In what statute is it written that a racing pulse has jurisdiction over the soul? Who authored its decree? Who endowed it with cause? If God is cause, whence a second cause to sustain alarm? It has no ordinance. It has no charter. It has sensation, and it borrows your consent to pretend that sensation is substance. Ask plain questions and be unsentimental in the asking. Who by clutching a thought has slowed a pulse? Who by tightening the jaw has stilled a quake? Who by piling one more sentence upon the mind has added peace? The master asked, which of you by taking thought can add 1 cubit to his stature? Extend it. Which of you by taking thought can add 1 drop of calm to the ocean of being? As long as you have faith in a thought to conquer a feeling, you prop up a second power and you remain far from the kingdom. Stop, stop. Let the tongue be quiet and the heart stand in witness. There is one power. Do not dignify the mask with a selfhood. There is no such thing as mortal mind as power. That term denotes nothingness, a name for a seeming activity without life in itself. Wind moving the reeds is not a person, neither is the clamor of ungoverned suggestion of power. Call it fear, call it suggestion, call it mortal mind. These are labels for a show with no actor. The Lord is my light. What darkness is there in light for a rival to throw a shadow from? In him we live and move and have our being. Where would a second law insert itself into that being? It cannot. It does not. Name the nothingness correctly, then withdraw belief. Your consent is the only breath the appearance ever seemed to have. Refuse consent, and it gasps. Withhold belief, and it falls, not by your might, but because there is no bone in it. A shadow on the wall looks like a giant until you turn and see the lamp turn. Turn from the moving picture to the one light, and in that turning, the figure cannot maintain its size. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Perfect love casteth out fear. Not your effort at loving, but love that is God recognized as all. Understand, then, what cannot be touched. Presence cannot be bruised by a pulse. Life cannot be shortened by a tremor. Spirit cannot be compressed by a tightness in the ribs. Truth cannot be fogged by whirling thoughts. You cannot see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or package it in the mind. And yet it is. And because it is, everything unlike it is, without law, without cause, without continuity. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Not even for composure is the shadow of realized presence. Therefore, when the signs appear, do not chase them with hands or with syllables. Make the clean inner inventory. No law, no cause, no substance, no power, then stop. Stop there and let God is be the final word and the open door. You are not managing symptoms. You are withdrawing the only life they ever seem to have your belief in them as power. Hold your peace and let the Lord fight for you. In that stillness, grace, not effort, dissolves the appearance. And what remains is what was always here. The isness of God, untouched, untouchable being, itself as the very atmosphere of your being. Minute one is a rest not of the body, but of the habit that would make two powers. Wherever you are, sit or stand as you are. Do not run for a glass, a window, or a better chair. Lights, posture, props secondary. Recognition is primary. Close the mouth, hold those teeth together, let the tongue fall from the roof. Stop. Stop. Do not argue with the symptoms. Do not explain your history to them. Do not whisper bargains to God. Answer once within, with the authority of heaven's own fact. God is. Not loudly, not many times. Once. Then be very still. Be still and know that I am God. You are not stilling a pulse. You are refusing to invent a second power. You are not pushing back a wave. You are withdrawing the sea of your consent from the image of a wave. One inner recognition God is, and arrest the compulsion to manage. Minute two is surrender, the holy confession that unhooks the hands from the wheel. I of mine own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. Turn in this very minute from managing breath. Let breath find you. Let it come and go of its own accord, while you, inwardly, place the burden where it belongs. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. Say within, if a word is needed, Father, I turn from managing. Be thou my breath, my being, then stop again. No counting, no forcing air in measured patterns. The river has always flowed. It does not require your cupped hands to be a river. Who by taking thought can add a cubit? Who by arranging inhalations can add the presence? You cannot see, hear, taste, touch, smell, or think God as an object. Yet God is. Consent to that. Let the shoulders drop, the forehead release, not as a technique, but as a sign that the doer has left the room. The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. Minute three is receive wordless, thoughtless, receiving. Abide in 30 to 60 seconds of quiet without aim. Do nothing. Make no report. Feel after, presence, not pulse. If there is a soft loosening, let it be. If there is no sign at all, let that be. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Liberty does not announce itself by trumpet to the senses. It reveals itself as the absence of compulsion, the economy of grace. True prayer puts you on the receiving end of God. In this minute, treat God as omniscience already here. Do not check the heart. Do not examine the throat. Do not lift the lid of the silence to peek inside. Take no thought. Remain. Allow. Yield. The Father within beareth witness to himself. It is not your province to supervise his work. If the wave returns, if the body shouts again, or thought begins to sprint, you do not chase it across the field. You do not duel with a ghost. Repeat the protocol once. Arrest, surrender, receive. Once. Then rest again. You are not machine gunning heaven with syllables. You are not turning a holy recognition into a hammer. Answer once God is. Confess once, I can of mine own self do nothing. Abide once in silence. Then leave the matter to grace, not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. This can be done at a desk, in a corridor, beside a bed, in a doorway, with people moving past. It can be done in bright noon or in midnight's corner. Do not wait for candles. Do not seek a cave. The cave is within. The altar is consciousness. The light is the realized fact. God is one. The shift in these first 3 minutes is everything out of symptom management and into presence recognition. From many efforts to one consent, from bargaining to beholding, you will find that appearances exhaust themselves when belief is withdrawn. Hold your peace and let the Lord fight for you. In the calm that follows, even if it is but the quiet edge of a storm, remain grateful or remain simply still. Tonight or any night, let these 3 minutes be your narrow gate. Enter and let grace do the work. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst of them. Hear that as instruction, not ornament. Gathered where? Not on a stage, not in a display of sympathy or in a chorus of advice. Gathered in my name means gathered in my nature, in the recognition of the is of God. It is an inward assembly, 2 or more breathing as one, not by matching counts, but by consenting to one presence. God is one. Therefore, any coming together in that name is a revelation of the one, appearing as 2 or 3, and the midst is not a third party arriving. The midst is the unveiled fact of oneness. In this work, there is no I here sending calm to you there. There is no distance to cross in spirit. God and the practitioner and the patient are one. That which constitutes a practitioner is a state of consciousness that knows this truth. If there is one power, there are not 2 selves to mediate between. The medicine is not in my thought or your thought. The medicine is grace, and grace is the nature of the one revealing itself where belief in twoness yields. Practically do this. When the wave rises, invite a trusted friend who knows our way, not a coach, not a fixer, a witness. Sit in the same room if possible. If not, turn together inwardly at the same time. No speeches. No hand on the shoulder to supervise peace. No counting. Close the mouth. Hold those teeth together. Let the tongue fall from the roof. One breath only. As the inhale comes, God. As the exhale releases, is. Then both of you, stop. Stop. Be still together, 30 to 60 seconds, and treat God as omniscience in the midst. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. Make no check of pulse or progress. Do not ask, are you better? Do not whisper, how do you feel? The shared stillness is the prayer. The silence is the sacrament. The grace is the activity. If the mind says, why are we not doing more? Who by taking thought can add a cubit? Who by explaining can add presence? My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. The world gives strategies. Spirit gives itself. In that united hush, the illusion of two powers weakens because the mutual consent to oneness withdraws the belief that fed the show. You will find, at times, a soft loosening that neither of you authored. At other times, no sign at all, and yet the atmosphere has altered. The compulsion abates, not by pressure, but by the economy of grace. If there are 10 righteous in a city, does not the city fare better for their consciousness? Let your home become such a place. Establish rooms where counsel is brief and silence abundant. Make halls where God is as said once and then honored with stillness. Gather your family, not to rehearse fears, but to bow together inwardly to one presence and one power. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in that name, that nature, that recognition, there I am. Not summoned from afar, not persuaded by many words, but realize because the veil of twowness is dropped. Do not confuse unity with uniformity. You need not match breaths like soldiers on parade. You need only agree as touching this, God is. Agree to stop managing. Agree to be very firm in your understanding of personal inadequacy and very free in your surrender to the Father within who doeth the works. Then hold your peace together and let the Lord fight for you. 1 can chase 1,000, 2 can put 10,000 to flight, not because arithmetic has power, but because shared realization amplifies the felt oneness in which panic has no law to stand. Carry this into corridors, kitchens, doorways. If you cannot sit, you can consent. If you cannot speak, you can know. 2 or more breathing as one is not a technique. It is the revelation that there is only one breathing. In that awareness, counsel fades, advice fades, fear fades, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Let your households learn this holy simplicity. Let your tables become altars of quiet assurance, and quietly, steadily, you will see that appearances exhaust themselves where united consciousness refuses to feed them. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty, individual and shared, personal and communal. One liberty, because one is all. But my mind is racing. Let it. Do not slow it. Do not shush it like a scolded child. You are not the keeper of that parade. Let the horses run out of the gate, and you be still. Say it once God is, and then withdraw participation. Who by taking thought has ever caught a thought? Who by chasing a bird with a net has ever taught it to nest? As long as you believe there is power in harnessing, you are trusting a second power. Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy to manage mind. Take no thought. That is the instruction. You outlive the race by declining to enter it. Answer once and stop. Stop. The wind does not ask you to run after it. It passes. So does the mind when there is no one consenting to be its audience. Be still and know that I am God. But what if it doesn't work? Who is the measurer? And what is he measuring? If you set a clock on grace, you have not yet turned to God. You are auditing effects. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment is recognition of one power, regardless of sensations. If you are looking to see if calm has arrived, you are still at the window watching the weather of the body. Close the window, seek God, not a result. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and let all these things, shadows of harmony, add themselves. Harmony does not come by might or by your vigilance. Harmony comes by grace. Your measuring delays grace because it re-enthrones you as doer and appraiser. Lay down the scales. Abide. Is this denial? No. Denial belongs to argument. We are not arguing with fear any more than we argue with darkness. We turn on the light. Recognition is not a refusal to see. It is the only true seeing. The Lord is my light. When the light is on, you need not deny the shadow. It cannot stand. To announce one presence is not to debate symptoms. It is to reveal their lawlessness. In that light, panic has no charter to govern you. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. May I doubt? Yes. Have the courage to doubt everything you cannot realize. Doubt your phrases, doubt your theories, doubt what is secondhand. Be very honest and very brave. And then be still. Do not turn doubt into a new technique. Let doubt do its holy work, sweeping the temple of borrowed furniture until only the altar remains. Stand there and say once, God is, and stop. My thoughts are not your thoughts. Your honesty opens the door. Your silence lets the Father fill the room. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. How many times daily? As many as there are doors to pass through in a house you love. Often, briefly, as doorway, then less often, longer, as abiding. The two words are a key, not a treadmill. Use them to enter, not to prove endurance. One breath, God on the in, is on the out, then wordless resting 30 to 60 seconds. Return in corridors, at sinks, between tasks. Then, once or twice a day, give more. Sit and let the ladder fall from your hand. True prayer is receptivity. Do not count, do not collect. Let your day be peppered with brief recognitions and anchored with 1 or 2 periods of unhurried stillness. In quietness and confidence shall be your strength. Hear the thread through these answers. Honest surrender, not mental effort, opens you to grace beyond racing thought. You cannot see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it as an object, and yet God is. Your office is small. Answer once, be still, and refuse to serve 2 powers. The Father within doeth the works. The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. Hold it, then, gently and firmly tonight, and as often as the door presents itself. Training is not for the storm. It is for the sky in which storms cannot take hold. Watch and pray, said the Master, not when the house is already aflame, but in the night watch, when lamps are trimmed and hearts are ready. We are not preparing to wrestle shadows. We are establishing the recognition of one so steadily that when the shadow knocks, there is no room for it to enter. Morning and evening, let there be a brief altar no one sees. Sit as you are. Do not dress for prayer. Close the mouth. Hold those teeth together. Let the tongue fall. Whisper once within, God is, and then be still 2 to 5 minutes. No asking, no listing. Enter into thy closet and shut the door. This is not to get something for the day. This is to acknowledge the day that is God. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and let all these things, the shadows of harmony, arrive by grace. Do not time with a whip. If a clock must help you end the sitting, let it, but let no clock tell you what God is. Begin softly, end naturally. If one morning holds 2 minutes and an evening holds 5, neither boasts and neither apologizes. The point is not minutes. The point is presence. We are installing stillness before the storm, not accumulating credits. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. The world gives records and tallies. Spirit gives itself. Now pepper the day with doors. Before a call, a reply, a meeting, a doorway, a meal. Stop, not long. One breath. God on the in is on the out. Then 10 seconds of silence. Nothing more. Do not angle for effect. Do not perform piety. Let these pauses be like salt. Little everywhere, making the whole day honest. This is the meaning of pray without ceasing. Not chatter, not repetition. Continuous consent. Micro pauses that keep you on the receiving end of God. If you forget for hours, do not scold. The next door is here. Open it. God is. Be still 10 seconds. Walk through. Rehearse the honest places where panic likes to visit. The narrow hallway, the late night bed, the elevator, the empty inbox, the doctor's waiting room. Do not dramatize. In a quiet moment, see yourself simply standing there, mouth closed, shoulders unhooked, and place the word there in advance. God is. Then remove the word and leave the space filled with presence. Prepare ye the way of the Lord. You are not building a barricade. You are laying the path of consent. When the hour comes, it will find you already at the gate of stillness, not rummaging for a key. Refuse the ledger. Do not count sittings or chalk marks on the soul. Let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth. Counting restores you as doer and auditor. We are cultivating a climate, not keeping a record, a climate in which one presence is so ordinarily acknowledged that a second power finds no oxygen. As dew gathers without your management, let a quiet atmosphere gather around you and in you by these brief recognitions and unhurried dawn and dusk rests. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Liberty is a climate. Write this upon the heart. Say it to your own consciousness every day for a long while. God is one. Bring it up from the basement of belief to the living room of realization. Bind it on the day at the sink, at the wheel, at the threshold, at the bed. Bind them upon thy fingers. Write them upon the table of thine heart, not as a charm, but as truth. You cannot see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it as an object, and yet God is. Keep returning until returning is the air you breathe. Then appearances arriving at your door will find a house already filled. Thou preparest a table before me. The feast is presence. The guests called fear have no seat. Begin tonight with 5 minutes or with 2. In the morning, again, through the day, doors and salt. No report, no pride. Answer once, be still, and hold your peace. Preload the atmosphere of oneness, and let grace do the work long before any wind rises. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stay there, kindly, steadfastly, and let the perfect keep you. Now we come to the holy exchange of aims. You thought we were training to stop panic. No, we have been training to know God. As long as you seek quiet as an outcome, you remain at the window watching weather. Draw the shade. Turn within. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. And harmony, whether breath or pulse or the countenance of your day, arrives as the byproduct of God realized, not as the prize of your striving. Relief is the shadow of realization. The reality is God. If you chase the shadow, you will have movement without light. Turn to the light, and you will find that shadows know where to go. Here is your identity shift. Simple and absolute. As long as God is, I am, not as a person puffed with certainties, but as being rooted in being. In him we live and move and have our being. Do not look to the pulse to tell you what you are. Do not interrogate thought as if it were the elder brother of truth. Thought is not power. Sensation is not self. God is, and therefore I am, because there is not God in another presence, and a rival presence. God is one. Rest your eye, not the name on your envelope, not the mask in the mirror. Rest your eye in the eye that says, I am that I am. When identity rests there, the body becomes a servant of the day, not its ruler. The mind becomes a window, not a tenant with a lease. Cease outcome checking. Do not lift the lid of prayer to see if it is working. You are not a taster at the edge of the kitchen of grace. Say once, God is, surrender the doer, and be still. Leave it. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment is recognition. One presence, one power, here. When you rise from stillness, do not count heartbeats as a verdict. Walk on. If you need to make a call, make it. If the task before you is to wash a cup, wash it. Let the Father within finish his own work without your supervision. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. The world gives timelines, metrics, and charts. Spirit gives itself. You will find a quiet wonder. The health of your countenance follows realization. They looked unto him and were lightened, and their faces were not ashamed. Your face tells the tale of the light behind it. Your breath, too, finds its right rhythm where you have ceased to own it. Your day unwinds with a Sabbath ease where you have ceased to build it by hand. But mark this and keep it clean. These are evidences, not aims. To aim at them is to put effects on the throne and send cause out into the hall to wait, not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. The Spirit does not need your daily inspection. It needs your daily consent. The kingdom of God is within you, not tomorrow, not later, when you deserve it. Now. Where? Within, where you cannot see or hear or taste or touch or smell an object called God, and yet God is. Therefore, now is the accepted time. Now is the day of salvation, not by performance, not by long speeches, but by a turn away from results and into reality. Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy to bring God to pass. And in that humility, let the Father reveal himself as the life you are. As long as God is, I am. That is identity. Out of that identity rises a life that does not argue with storms or bless them. It reveals the sky in which storms cannot take hold. So let us correct our aim this very hour. We are not students of crisis management. We are witnesses to God. We are not collectors of peaceful moments. We are dwellers in the peace that is God's presence? Answer. Once God is, surrender the doer. I of mine own self do nothing. Abide wordless, uncurious, refuse to peak, walk on. Relief will come where it must, as the shadow of the real. The real is here. The real is God. And because God is, you are now. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want, not even for signs, for the sign has come. I am. Now let us do what we have been saying. Not later. Now. Close the mouth. Hold those teeth together. Let the tongue fall from the roof. Do not prepare a speech. Do not arrange a posture. One breath only, let it come of itself. As it comes within, say God. As it releases within, say is. Then stop. Stop. Be still. 30 seconds. 60 if they offer themselves. No more words. Let the heart be quieted by presence, not by argument. This is true prayer. Be still and know that I am God. Within that hush, if a whisper is to arise, let it be the simplest petition that is not a petition at all, but permission. Father, let me feel thy presence. Say it once within, and then be silent. Let me feel thy presence. Not to get it to come, but to yield where it already is. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. In that temple, you do not measure. You do not peek. You do not reach for a sign. You allow the grace of God to be the grace of God. Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. This is your charge for tonight. You can begin now. When panic speaks, whether it be at the bedside, in the corridor, by the late phone, or in the quiet, where thoughts grow loud, answer once. God is. Not as a charm, as recognition. Then stop. Stop. Surrender the doer. I of mine own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works, and be still. 30 seconds. 60. No more. Let grace do the work. Rise and walk on. If the wave knocks again, follow the same narrow gate. Recognition, surrender, stillness, once. The fewer the words, the cleaner the consent. Carry with you the strength that is not yours. Remember, we do not do this alone, because alone is not a word in spirit. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst of them. As you enter your house, know that we are still one consciousness in the one. If you are in a room by yourself, you are not by yourself. We are gathered in his name. If you are with a friend, no counsel, just one breath together. God on the in is on the out, and then silence. Our united hush is a ministry. It is not thought aiding thought. It is the recognition of one dissolving the pretense of two. Let tonight be clean. No ledgers, no reports, no boasting, and no despair. Answer once, be still, and let grace do the work. If upon the bed there is rest, give thanks and say nothing. If there is no sign, give thanks and say nothing. Righteous judgment is not the reading of surfaces. It is the awareness of one presence as the only presence. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Leave the rest with the Father. Let the Spirit interpret the silence to your life as it will. And when you rise in the morning, let the same simplicity be your first act. God is, then quiet. Before doors open, Let the inner door be opened without hands. You will find by and by that the atmosphere of your day changes, not because you worked it into shape, but because grace found a door without obstruction. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stay there by still, brief, honest returnings. Hear this as benediction and as marching order, as peace and as practice. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Let that liberty be the air you breathe, the climate in which appearances have no law and panic no throne. God is one, because God is, you are. Therefore, go in the quiet certainty that needs no show. Answer once. Be still. Let the grace appear tonight and always.